Good day, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for the support. And if you're new to this channel, please do well by subscribing. Today's tutorial is about how to make this beautiful short dress. If it's what you're interested in, please stay tuned and watch till the end. So these are the fabric I'll be using for the style. I have 3 yards of the Ankara fabric, and I also have this black crepe material with me, though I'll be using little out of it. I'm not using up to half yard, so I'll cut up little out of it. So at this point, I folded my fabric into 2. I'll be cutting the front part first, and I'll measure the length of the gown, which is 41. Yeah, it's 41 for this person. So I measure and mark, and also rule a straight line. So I added 2 inches for my folding allowance, the end part of the dress. I added 2 inches to it, so making 43 for the total length. And I rule a straight line. So the next thing is for me to get my shoulder measurement. Shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 15 divided by 2, that's 7.5. So I marked my 7.5. Then at that point, I added my sleeve length because it's a cut together stuff. So with this, I use 9 inches for my sleeve length plus 7.5. I had the 9 inches plus 7.5 should give us 16.5. So that's the total amount of fabric I folded. I folded 16.5. So from the shoulder measurement, I dropped down by 1 inches. Where I have my 7.5, I mark 1 inches downward. Then I link it up to the neck part. My neck width is 3 inches. From the folded part, I measure 3 inches. That's my neck width. So I rule a straight line from the neck width to the shoulder measurement to the main sleeve. Yeah, from the neck width to the shoulder slope. Yes, then to the main sleeve. I rule a straight line. So after that, the next thing for me to get the waistline, which I measure 17 inches from the shoulder line downwards. I measure 17 inches, and for the hip line also, I added 8 inches to my waistline. The waistline is 17 inches, so I added 8 inches to my waistline. See me here the way I'm counting. I try to count so you understand. So the total gave us 25. After that, the next thing is for us to divide our circumference measurement, which is the bust, waist, and the hip measurement. The bust measurement for this person is 38, which I divided by 4, and I added 3 inches to the allowance because it's a free dress. So I did the same thing for the waist. Our waist measurement is 30. That's 30 divided by 4. We have 7.5 plus 3 inches. Also, I did the same thing for the hip measurement. Our hip measurement is 39.5 divided by 4, and I added 3 inches for the allowance. Marking all the necessary points, the next thing is for me to link up all the mark parts, just the way you see me do in this video. Then what I have on the hip side, I bring it down to the length, full length of the dress. I brought what I have at the hip side to the down part of the fabric, no additional subtraction. Then I try to blend the waist side because I don't want it too sharp. I don't want the hip side too sharp. It's not a fitted dress, so I had to blend it a little bit by adding like ½ inch to the measurement I have already. Then I curved the bust part and the sleeve part. Instead of having a sharp edge, I curved that part. So after doing all this, the next thing is for me to cut out the front piece. Mind you, I haven't shaped the front at the neck part. The neck part is still the same way, still straight. So I just have to cut out. Then I'll use the front part to cut the back part. I'll use the front part to cut the back part. I cut it separately because I want to add zipper allowance to the back side, because I don't want the owner struggling with wearing the dress, so I have to put a zipper allowance at the back part. I'll be putting the shortest zip, not the long zip, the short zip, because it's a free dress. It's just for it to have that freeness while wearing it. So I added 1 inch zip allowance to the back part, then I cut out. So at this point, I already cut out my neck parts. I never knew the phone stopped recording, so I had to recap. So I try as much as possible to explain so you understand. For my neck width, I used 3 inches. So this is the back. I measured my 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So from this 1 inch, I measured 3 inches by 2. The neck width is 3 inches for the back, and the depth is 2 inches. So I used 3 by 2 for the back part. Then I cut out. And as for the front part, I used 3 inches by 6.5 because this person does not want her cleavage to show. She does not want to expose any part of her breast. So I used 3 inches by 6.5, and it cuts like a V-neck kind of, yeah, as you can see in this video, V-neck. So after this, the next thing is for me to join the shoulder parts, the back and the front, join the shoulder part, and also join the zipper allowance at the back to the level where I want the zip to stop. So I'll take this to my sewing machine to stitch, then I'll bring it back. So at this point, I already joined the shoulder part. I joined the zipper allowance to the level where I want the zip to stop. Then I went ahead also to weave to interlock it. So after this, the next thing is for us to cut out our design parts with the crepe material. I folded my crepe material here 7 inches by the length of the fabric. The length of the crepe is 60, as we all know. So I folded the crepe 7 inches by the length of the fabric. The length of the fabric is 43. Yes. So I added about 5 inches to it, 5 to 6 inches to it. That's 7 inches by the length of the Ankara fabric. Then I went ahead to chalk and cut. Lo and behold, my camera isn't recording again due to phone memory issue. So I had to delete some stuff, then recap. So I'll try to explain again so you understand. Believe me, this thing gets frustrating at times, the phone memory issue. So I'll try to explain so you understand how I cut the black crepe. So I folded as usual, then I tried to pin down to secure the fabric. So after pinning down, I placed my Ankara fabric on the crepe fabric. I fold it in a way that the center front will show. So I place the center front of the Ankara fabric on the folded part of the crepe material. As you see me do in this video, the center front on the folded part. The back part will not really lay on the crepe fabric because of the zipper allowance added, because I'll be cutting it together. So just watch carefully and see the way I do it in this video. Then I will try to chalk on a normal ground. I'm meant to cut it, but since I already have the one I cut out, I'll just try to chalk this part out so you understand how I cut out the other one. So this is my neck part. From the neck part now, I'll measure 3 inches round the neck part. That is how wide I want the design to be at the neck area. I'll measure 3 inches and also 3 inches downward to the length of the design, and I'll blend them. So I'll join all the marked parts together. I won't be cutting this out because I already have the one I cut out. So this is just an example of how I cut out the one I have already. So this is how the front design look like. The next thing is for me to use my interfacing, cut out my interfacing. This is the light paper stay. You can go ahead and use your stay. I'll be using paper stay for this project. So I'll cut out the same shape of the black design. So after cutting out my interfacing, I went ahead to slit the neck part, the back part, so as to have the opening over there. Then I went ahead to iron. Currently our light is faulty, so I have to use the alternative to iron. So I'm just showing this part so the beginners we understand, and also you have the idea of how to properly iron your interfacing. So after ironing this part, ensure you wet it properly and iron. Then I'll turn to the fabric part also and iron properly. So after ironing my interfacing, the next thing is for you to fold the edge of the fabric with 1/2 inch. You fold in 1/2 inch with your iron, fold it and press down. Then when you get to this curved part, where the curved part meets the straight part, you will notch at least 1/2 inch. Then you fold. The essence of you notching that part is for it to relax. Otherwise that edge won't relax. You won't be able to iron properly and it will affect your sewing. Then after that, you continue with your ironing. Iron all the edges 1/2 inch round. You do it for the other side as well. So at this point, I already ironed out the edges. As you can see in this video, everything is well set. The essence of you ironing 1/2 inch inwardly is for you to have a neat sewing. As you can see, you already have the idea of what the design will look like. Then I went ahead to pin the neck part, the neck design, to the fabric. Just watch carefully and see the way I place it. Firstly, you try to get the midpoint of the front piece, because the design is at the center front. So for you to get it right, get the midpoint. So I try to fold my fabric and I notch the down part and the neck part of the front piece so as to get the midpoint. You can go ahead and press with your iron so the line will show properly. So then I open it up and place the design and pin down. As you can see, the lines are showing here. If you're seeing properly, if you're looking at it properly, the lines are showing. And I'll place my black fabric, the design, then pin down so as to secure it. So after pinning, the next thing is for me to take to my machine and stitch the edges. At this point, if you have not subscribed, please do it by subscribing, and also hit the like button. If this video has been helpful to you, hit the like button. This is just a way of encouraging and supporting us. just please subscribe, hit the like button, and share if necessary. Thank you. So I already have the design to this level. The next thing is for me to cut my interfacing. I cut out little piece for this just to turn the neck part inside. This serves as my lining, kind of. So I'll join the shoulder. I cut it separately because of the zip at the back. If yours does not have zip at the back, you can cut them together. So I already fixed my zip at this level. I used the short zip. So after the fixing of the zip, I went to add my label. So after fixing of the zip, then I'll turn the neck part with the small piece of the fabric. So after pinning down at this point, I'll go ahead and sew at least ½ inch. So at this point, I already sewed the ½ inch. The next thing is for me to notch the sewn part carefully so I don't have to cut through. I'll just notch the sewn part carefully. Then after notching the parts, I'll go ahead and top stitch. My top stitching should start from at least ½ inch away from the zip, ½ inch away from the zip part. Then I'll top stitch from one part of the zip to the other part of the zip. I also stop at ½ inch before the zip part. So at this point, I already top stitch. So this is what it looks like after top stitching. So at this point, the next thing for me to cover up the zip part, I'll use the small piece I have to cover the zip part. So I'll cover it this way, then stitch on the zip part, not the teeth of the zip, now just very close to the teeth of the zip. So I'll stitch straight down to where the small piece stop. So at this point, I already did that. As you can see, where my stitch stop is also where the small piece stop, very close to the teeth of the zip. So this is what I have covered and knit. So at this point, the next thing is for you to iron the neck part. So I'll pin this part down, then iron. So after pinning down, I'll just go ahead and weave the sides. I'll weave the side of the fabric, weave both sides. So this is what I have already. The next thing now is for me to put the pocket. Yeah, I already weave my dress, and I'll mark out where the pocket will start from and where it will end. So from the shoulder part, I'll measure the waist measurement, the waist length measurement, which is also the half length measurement. This dress half length measurement is 17. I'll reduce by 1 inch, which is 16. So from the shoulder, I'll measure 16 inches downward and mark. Also from the 16 inches, I'll measure 7 inches for the space of the pocket. So I'll do this on both sides, 16 inches, and from 16 inches I'll measure 7 inches. Just watch closely and you understand. So after chalking the part where I'll place my pocket on the dress, the next thing is for me to cut out the pocket itself. So I'll measure 7.5 inches by 12.5 inches. Unfold. The 7.5 inch is the width of the pocket, while the 12.5 inches is the length of the pocket. Remember, I'm cutting off fold, so the total length is 12.5 by 15. When you open it up, you should have 12.5 by 15. So I'll use this also to cut the other pockets. So I have 2 of this. Then at the down part, I'll try and curve that part. I'll curve the part. Then I'll go ahead and measure the 7 inches. Remember, I mark out 7 inches on the dress, and I'll add half inches to it. I'll add half inches to the 7 inches, then notch that part. So the next thing is for me to stitch the pocket. So from the down part, the notch part, I will sew that part half inch. Starting from the notched part, also half inch, just to close the down part of the pocket. So after closing the down part, I also go ahead and stitch the upper part of the pocket. Starting from the folded part, I'll stitch, then stop at least 0.75 from the end part. Just watch closely and then you understand. So after sewing your pocket, the next thing is for you to attach the pocket to the dress. Then you place it on the dress. The part facing you is the part you stitch to the front part. Just watch closely and you understand what I'm doing here. The part facing you is the part you stitch to the dress, starting from the 16 inches which we marked, which is the half length. Then you stop your sewing at 7 inches, which we already mark on the dress. So I'll do this for the front parts and the back parts, and also do on the other side of the dress. Just watch closely and you understand. So at this point, I'm trying to mark out the starting point of the pocket at the back piece of this dress, which is 16 inches. And also from the 16 inches, I'll mark my 7 inches. That is where the pocket will stop. So this is the other side of the dress. I'll fix the pocket same way I did for the first side of the dress. So at this point I have the pocket fixed on both sides. So the next thing is just for me to join the side parts with 1 inch allowance. So I'll go ahead and stitch this part starting from the sleeve part. Then I'll stop the sewing on the upper part of the pocket and also skip that 7 inches part. That is where our hand will enter the pocket. So I'll stitch from the sleeve part. Remember, this is a cut together dress. I'll stop at the top of the pocket where the pocket starts from. I'll stop there. Then I'll continue my sewing at the 7 inches where the pocket stop. I hope you understand this process. So after doing that, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side of the dress. Then go ahead and hem the down part with my hemming gum and iron, and also do the same thing for the sleeve parts. And our dress is ready. Please, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed, and also hit the like button. It is just a way of supporting us and encouraging for us to put out more videos. Thank you. Thanks for watching. God bless you.